Dear students, I hope you all are keeping well by taking all the precautionary measures at home during this COVID outbreak. Although it's a tough time for us, but let's make it fruitful by learning from home. Why not follow the 3S mantra? Stay at home, school at home, and study at home. Today we will learn about various facts about human reproduction. This is the third chapter of unit Reproduction. Every possible effort has been made to provide simplified notes easy to understand in the form of flowcharts and colored diagrams. Hope you enjoy learning, so let's get started. Dear students, now we take up the third chapter of unit Reproduction, that is human reproduction. As you all know that human beings are sexually reproducing organisms and are viviparous. Sexually reproducing organisms means human beings are biparental, means two parents are involved in the reproductive process. Human beings are viviparous, means they give birth to the young ones. Like all sexually reproducing organisms, human beings also have three reproductive events in their life. They are pre-fertilization events, fertilization, and post-fertilization events. As we have discussed in previous chapters also, pre-fertilization events involve gamete formation, which is also called gametogenesis, and gamete transfer. In human males, male gametes are sperms, so the formation of male gametes in males is called spermatogenesis. In females, the female gametes are called ovum, and here the formation of ovum is called oogenesis. So, spermatogenesis is the gametogenesis occurring in the males, and oogenesis is the formation of ovum in the females. Then sperms are motile and ovum is non-motile. Ovum remains inside the female body. It is the sperm which travels into the female reproductive tract for fertilization purposes. So next is gamete transfer. So here gamete transfer in case of humans is called insemination, because sperms are introduced into the female reproductive tract. Fertilization. Once the sperms introduced into the female reproductive tract, these sperms, they will reach the oviduct of the female. There, if it happens to meet the ovum, then it will fuse with the ovum and fertilization is accomplished. So fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes, or you can say fertilization is the fusion of sperm with the egg, and this process occurs in the fallopian tube. Then the third reproductive event is the post-fertilization event. Once the fusion has occurred in the fallopian tube, zygote formation occurs, and that zygote will divide and redivide. And simultaneously, it will start its journey from the fallopian tube into the uterus of the female body. And when it is 32-celled embryo, then that stage of embryo gets fixed in the uterine wall. So that fixation of the 32-celled embryo in the wall of the uterus of female is called implantation. Now once the embryo is implanted in the uterus, its embryonic development occurs for 9 months in case of humans, and that period of 9 months is called gestation period. Then after complete development of embryo for 9 months, then is the childbirth, and childbirth is called parturition. Now there are remarkable differences in the reproductive systems of male and female humans, and even the events differ a lot. So we will take up these structures and events occurring in the male and female humans. So first of all, male reproductive system. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. Then it has accessory ducts, accessory glands, and male external genitalia. Now testis has two functions to perform. First, it forms sperms. Second, it produces a male sex hormone called testosterone, which helps in the sperm formation and also is responsible for the male secondary sexual characters. Male secondary sexual characters like formation of facial hairs and deepening of voice. So it is because of the male hormone that is called testosterone. Then there are accessory ducts. These accessory ducts, they collect sperms from the testes, and these accessory ducts, they will store and transport these sperms to the outside. These accessory ducts are RETE testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. Now out of the 4 accessory ducts, 2 of them, RETE testis and vas efferentia, they are present inside the testes, and last 2, epididymis and vas deferens, are present outside the testes. Then there are some glands associated with the reproductive system of male human, and those glands are male accessory glands. These are a pair of seminal vesicle, a single prostrate gland, and a paired bulbourethral gland. The secretion of these glands is called seminal plasma, and this seminal plasma is important for the maturity and mobility of the sperms. Male external genitalia consists of a penis. Penis helps in insemination. It helps in transfer of sperms into the female reproductive tract. Now let's have a diagrammatic view of all the parts that we have discussed. A pair of testes. A pair of testes is present outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called scrotum. Once again, testes are present outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called scrotum. Now the question arises, why testis is not present inside the abdominal cavity? The reason, as I have already told, sperm formation occurs inside testis, and sperm formation cannot occur at the normal body temperature, that is 37 degrees C. That's why these testes, they are present outside the abdominal cavity in sac called scrotum. Scrotum provides 2 to 2.5 degree less temperature than the body temperature. Now talking about the ducts, as I told you, 2 of the ducts, RETE testis and vas efferentia, are present inside the testis. That we will see, these 2 ducts we will see in the longitudinal section of the testis later on. So the 2 ducts which are present outside the testis are epididymis and vas deferens. Now this epididymis is present at the back side of the testis, or you can say it is present at the posterior side of the testis. This epididymis, it leads into vas deferens. This is another duct. Now this vas deferens, it ascends into the abdominal cavity, then it loops over the urinary bladder. You see here, this is the urinary bladder. If you remember the excretory system of humans, you always draw a urinary bladder with the urethra and a pair of ureters. You can see a pair of ureters, and these ureters, they lead into the kidney. So you see here, epididymis leads into vas deferens, and vas deferens ascends into the abdominal cavity and it loops over the urinary bladder. and this vas differens then it joins the urethra of the urinary bladder. So we can say urethra is the common path for the urine and the sperm. As I told you, these ducts, they carry sperms. So this vas differens is joining the urethra, and urethra also receives urine from the urinary bladder. So urethra is the common path for sperm as well as the urine. Now the three glands, position of three accessory glands. These are a pair of seminal vesicles, a single prostate gland, and a pair of bulbourethral glands. The secretion of all these glands, as I told you, is called seminal plasma, which is rich in fructose, calcium, and certain enzymes. All these components help in the maturity and mobility of the sperms. Now let's have a sectional view of the testis, a longitudinal section of the testis. See here, male reproductive system and enlarged view of internal structure of the testis. Now internally, the testis is made up of about 250 compartments. Testis is made up of about 250 compartments, and these compartments are called testicular lobules. Inside the testicular lobules are 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. Testicular lobules have 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules, and seminiferous tubules from the testicular lobules, they join to form a network which is called RETE testis. As I told you, two of the ducts are present internally. They are RETE testis and another is vas effrentia. So these seminiferous tubules, they are leading into a network that is called RETE testis. RETE testis leads into another ducts. These are called vas effrentia. Later on, these vas effrentia, they join the epididymis, and epididymis then joins the vas differens, right? So the four accessory ducts are RETE testis, vas effrentia, epididymis, and vas differens. As we have discussed that sperm formation occurs inside the testis. Now inside the testis, it is the seminiferous tubules where sperm formation occurs. Or you can say spermatogenesis occurs inside these seminiferous tubules. Now coming to the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system is present in the pelvic region, and it consists of a pair of ovaries, then accessory ducts. These accessory ducts are oviducts, uterus, cervical canal, and vagina. Then female reproductive system has external genitalia, which is composed of mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, and hymen. Mons pubis is a fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Labia majora is a two-lipped structure surrounding the vaginal opening. Under the labia majora is another two-lipped structure called labia minora. And at the junction of the two lips of labia minora is present clitoris. Clitoris is equivalent to male penis. Then vaginal opening is partially covered by a membrane called hymen. And this hymen, it gets broken during first intercourse. During first mating, during first intercourse, hymen gets broken up. But it may also get torn due to heavy exercise or due to active participation in some sports like horse riding or cycling, or it can also break up due to a sudden fall. And in some cases, hymen persists even after the copulation. Even after intercourse, in some cases, hymen persists. So, hymen cannot be taken as a reliable indicator of virginity or sexual experience. Now, diagrammatic view of the different parts of the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, and it consists of a pair of oviducts, which are also called fallopian tube. At the end of the oviduct, here is a funnel-shaped infundibulum. We can say oviduct can be divided into three parts, and these three parts are infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. Infundibulum is closer to the ovary. Infundibulum is funnel-shaped part of the fallopian tube, and at its ends are present finger-like projections which are called fimbriae. These fimbriae, they collect ovum when ovary releases the ovum. Then infundibulum leads into a broader part which is called ampulla. Ampulla then opens into a narrow lumen which is called isthmus. Till now we have learnt that fertilization occurs in the fallopian tubes. Now one thing I must add, in the ampullary-isthmic junction, it is the ampullary and isthmic junction where fertilization occurs. Precisely, the ovum and the egg has to meet at this ampullary-isthmic junction for fertilization to be accomplished. If they meet somewhere away from this ampullary-isthmic junction, fertilization will not occur. Then both the oviducts, they open into a single cavity which is called uterine cavity or uterus. As we have discussed earlier, here fertilization occurs, zygote formation occurs, and that zygote start moving towards the uterus, and simultaneously it is dividing and redividing. And when it is 32 celled, it gets fixed here. This is the wall of the uterus. It gets fixed here, and that process is called implantation. So now coming to the parts of the reproductive system. So as we have discussed, fallopian tubes lead into a cavity called uterus. Now this uterus is having three wall layers. Outermost thin perimetrium, then middle one myometrium. Myometrium is made up of thick, smooth muscles, and myometrium plays role during childbirth. It produces strong contractions which help in the childbirth through the vaginal opening. Then innermost layer of the uterus is called endometrium. It is glandular in function. This uterus, it leads into a narrow canal called cervical canal, and this cervical canal later on leads into the vaginal opening. Cervical canal and vaginal opening together called the birth canal. These are so called because during normal deliveries the child is pushed out of these canals. Now exercise your brain. There are some questions mentioned in the description box below this video. Try solving those questions, and if you are unable to find answers to them, then again rewatch the videos. You will definitely find answers in them. It's like a treasure hunt. Good luck to you.